Hello and welcome back to another episode of Best Bets. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined as always by Newsday's NFL pick columnist Joe Manniello. Joe, how are you?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It was a tough week last week for you, unfortunately, Joe. 1-4. So
that's the best day of the week.
Yeah, not the best. 13-18 on the year. 3-2 for me in week 6 brings me to 20-11 so far on this season. But back at it again for week 7. No Jets, so we're going to do things a little different. We'll start with the Giants. We always do the locals first. Our game of the week we're going to save for last because it's Eagles-Dolphins Sunday Night Football. We'll do 2 best bets and an underdog pick. So let's get it rolling with the local, the Giants and the Commanders. Commanders, 3-point road favorites. Who do you like here in this game?
Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders. I don't feel great about it. I think it's going to be an NFC East, slugfest kind of game, but I just don't trust the Giants. I mean, I give them credit for last week. They played great. Defense played his best game of the year, 14-9. Probably should have won the game with those 2 goal line controversies at the end of the first half, and then the no call on the ball or at the end. I'm saying the Commanders. I think the biggest discrepancy here is the Washington defensive line against the Giants offensive line. Justin Pugh with the great straight off the couch line on his Sunday night introduction last week. That's fun and all, but I think it's a bad matchup for them there. And Washington's a weird team. Last week they bounced back in Atlanta. I don't think they're not making the playoffs, but I think they have more talent. And I feel like a 2017 kind of game. It might be a push, but hopefully they win by 4. So I just don't trust the Giants. They haven't scored an offensive touchdown since week 3 against the Niners, which is just so hard to believe. And even though they played better, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won, I just don't think they have the talent all around. I don't, playing backups and stuff like that. So I'll take Washington. I feel like they're the better team, so I'll leave it 3 points.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not crazy about this game. This doesn't rank, high up there on games, confidence level for me. But just looking at the talent discrepancy right now, I think the Giants are just in a really tough spot with how bad their offensive line has played so far this year. And Washington, one of their strengths is that defensive line. I don't expect a ton of offense in this one. You had the stat. They haven't scored since the third quarter of the game against the 49ers. It's a long time ago now for the Giants. And not that this Commanders offense is really all that stellar. I don't know if I really buy into Sam Howell being a long-term answer there, but I think they have more offensively. And even with the Giants playing one of their best defensive games of the season, and unfortunately it still wasn't enough. I don't know if they're going to be able to put that kind of performance down in back-to-back weeks. And until proven otherwise, I don't know how you could back the Giants right now. Again, I like their coach. We're both big fans of Brian Daboll, but it's just for whatever reason it's not clicking right now. It feels like a lost season and it's spiraling. And like I said, until proven otherwise, I can't possibly back the Giants. I'll take the Commanders -3. I think you're looking at like a 20-14 game, something like that. I think it's low scoring. I don't know what the point total is in this game, but I would maybe consider
37.5.
Okay, yeah, I'd maybe consider an under here.
2017, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think either team really scores a ton in this game. Ugly, sloppy game on Sunday at MetLife Stadium, but I'm going to go with the Commanders -3 as well. All right, let's get into 2 best bets. What's your first best bet that jumps out to you this week, Joe?
Yeah, I'm going with Tampa Bay at home, -2.5. I think it's a good bounce back spot for them. We've seen Tampa Bay lose to the top teams, Detroit and Philadelphia. But they've beaten the Vikings, the Bears, and the Saints. I think this is a good spot for them. Desmond Ritter, 0-4 in his career on the road, and the Falcons have only scored 6 and 7 points on the road this year at Detroit and in the London game, even though they were technically the home team in that game, I think. But maybe not. But, that's still a road game in my opinion.
Sure.
I just don't trust Ritter on the road here. The Falcons got away from the run game too much last week, and I just think the Bucs bounce back here. They have a good defense, and I think Baker Mayfield makes enough plays. They win like another 3-point game. They're favored by 2.5. I feel like this is like a, not a convincing win, but 3-4 point win. And I like the number being under 2.5, and I think it's a great spot for the Bucs to bounce back. I don't trust Ritter on the road, so Bucs -2.5. That's it.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot, and for the reasons you mentioned. The Bucs have a great defense. Atlanta, their offense is not very good. Ritter has struggled this year, so I'm with you. I think that's a good play. For my first best bet, I'm going to go with the Packers -1.5 on the road in Denver. They're coming off a bye this week, a much needed bye because their offense has struggled their previous 2 games before heading into the bye. Started out 2-1, we're looking pretty good, and then back-to-back losses. You're 2-3 coming out of the bye. People turning on Jordan Love a little bit after a couple struggles. But if there was ever a team that you needed a bounce-back performance against, it would be this Denver Broncos defense, which is just historically bad. They are looking to, sell off pieces, it seems like, heading up close to the trade deadline. And, I don't know if Jordan Love is going to be, this great quarterback in the league, but this to me just seems like a perfect get-right game for the Packers. Get your way back to 500. And with the spread only at 1.5 points, you essentially just have to win the game, as long as it's not a 1-point win, which I don't really see this one being that close. Not that the Packers are going to run up the score, but I don't really trust this Denver team. They haven't looked good at all. Their one win was a crazy comeback against, maybe one of the only teams that are worse than the Chicago Bears. So I think you're looking at maybe like a 23-16 kind of game, lower scoring, but I just have no faith in Denver, even as, a home team there. I don't usually love taking road favorites, but with the point spread being so low, with that defense struggling so badly in Denver and Green Bay coming off a bye, I like them a lot this week.
Yeah, I like the Packers too, but it's funny, you said the spread won't come into the play. The Packers early in the season were back-to-back 1.5 point spreads. They lost by 1, and then they won by 1, and they didn't cover the second time. And I think they were favored by 1.5 against this team. So
it could come to bite me.
No, I think they win. I think they win by 3 or 4.
There we go. How about second best bet? What's another one that jumps out?
Yeah, I got another 4:00 game. I like. Almost made it my best bet in the paper, but I went with the Bucks. The LA Rams at home, giving 3 to the Steelers. It's almost more of an anti-Steelers pick. Their offense is in shambles. They're off a bye. Tomlin, I think they won the last 6 in a row off the bye. Tomlin's great as an underdog. We always talk about that, but sometimes we put too much stock into that because the teams change, situations change. I like the Rams a lot here. Their passing attack should have a nice day against the Steelers secondary. 8th worst against the pass. I just don't trust. It's more about the Steelers' offense. I mean, they're 3-2, but it's just a deceiving record. I mean, they probably should be 1-4. I mean, they beat the Browns and the Ravens and only scored 1 touchdown combined in both those games. So, excuse me, their defense is the reason why they're 3-2. And even with the week off, I mean, offensive coordinator Matt Canada, Steelers fans hate him. Kenny Pickett, I think he has upside, but something's just not right with his offense. And I think going into facing a team like the Rams that can score, I think it's going to be an issue. So I have the Rams winning this game by a touchdown or so. I just think their offense is too much, and Steelers fans will be there. They'll travel, and Tomlin will get the team ready off a bye. I just don't trust the offense. You got to score points in the NFL in 2023, and I just don't see them even scoring 20 points, honestly. So I'm taking the Rams as my second best bet.
Yeah, I like the Rams a lot this week, too. I think you bring up a good point there. And the Rams on offense, they've done a really nice job this year. A lot of people didn't think they'd be any good this year, but they're hanging tough. I like that play. I'm going to go with the Bills laying a big number, 8.5 against the New England Patriots. And, obviously they were big favorites at home against the Giants. They won the game, but only 14-9. Week prior, they lost 25-20 to Jacksonville in London. So really haven't looked great the last few weeks, but from week 2 to week 4, they were putting up monster numbers on offense, 38, 37, 48. And New England, they just look like a team that's like quit, which is so weird to say about a Bill Belichick coach team. That's so rare for us to be talking about, but they just look really, really bad. I think Mac Jones really struggles against a very, very good defense. He's looked really bad the last few weeks after starting the season okay. But this is a big number. It's on the road, but I don't know if that's going to really even matter that the Bills are going to have to travel on the road in this one and play up in New England. Their offense, the Patriots offense, has just shown really no signs of life. Defensively, this is a good defensive team, but at times even we saw the Saints, who struggled to put up points. They play in the game last night on Thursday Night Football. They're struggling to put up points, and they put up a ton of points on New England. So I think this one could get ugly. I'm going to take a 30-10 Bills win on the road in New England.
Yeah, I like the Bills. No more Patriots. That the last week that bad beat with the safety costing the cover. So upset about that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Unbelievable.
All right, let's get to an underdog pick. What are some underdogs you like this week?
I don't like a bunch of underdogs this week. A lot of spreads are small, so it's almost like a lot of pick'ems almost. If you just 2-3 point spreads usually don't come into play. But I'm going with my NFC champion from before the season, my Detroit Lions. 5-1 against the spread. They won 13 of 16 regular season games, and it's not just the high scoring offense with Jared Goff. They're winning with defense. Last week they won 20-6. I just like this Lions team. I feel like they win in different ways. A lot of people are counting them out this week, buying into the whole Ravens at home. The Lions are underdogs. The spread kind of surprised me. I was surprised the Ravens are favored by 3, which is usually a red flag that you have the wrong wheel on the game. But I'm sticking with the Lions here. I think their defense will frustrate Lamar Jackson enough. They've been awful in the red zone. And another thing I don't think people talk about enough is that the Ravens, right? So last week they spent the whole week in London. They beat the Titans, and before that, weeks 4 and week 5 both played road games. So 2 road games in a row, plus flying to London for a whole week. Now they're back home. I think that's going to catch up to them a little bit, and I can see them. I don't know, underestimate the Lions. Obviously, they're 5-1, but people say, "Oh, they're the Lions." Like, I don't think people realize how good this Lions team is. I mean, it's not just the offense. They're number 1 against the run, 64.7 yards per game, and so you see it with Dan Campbell. I mean, these guys love this coach, and to me, if you look at their record, I picked them before the year to go 13-4, and they have a really easy record here. I think they might be the 1 seed in the NFC. It might sound crazy, but if 49ers and Eagles, lose a couple more games. So the Lions, to me, they're rolling here. And even though David Montgomery got hurt, Jahmyr Gibbs is expected back. But I think it's going to be a real close game. I had the Lions winning 20-19. So outright win and getting 3 points. I feel like it's a nice spot for the Lions.
Yeah, I like the Lions this week, too. I thought this game would be closer to a pick'em. I was kind of surprised that it was a 3-point spread. So I'm taking the Lions as well. I like them a lot this week. For my underdog pick, I'm gonna take the Chargers plus 5.5 in Kansas City. I don't like this Chargers team, but these two teams always play tight games. For the Chargers, they played 5 games this year. 4 of them have been decided by 4 points or less. Their one loss that was a touchdown loss, 7 points. That was a win. I'm sorry, against the Raiders. Was a 7-point game where they were going up against their backup. What was that?
I'm sorry, it was a close game. I said they almost lost.
Yeah, they did almost lose that one.
Close games, yeah.
Yep. So, and both games last year against the Kansas City Chiefs were 3-point games. And the time before that needed overtime. The Chiefs ended up scoring a touchdown in overtime, so that was a 6-point win, but which would be a cover in this situation. But still, you got an overtime game, and the 2 games last year were 3-point games. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, probably by 3 or 4, but I just don't see them running away with it. I think the Chargers, again, they keep it close, but Brandon Staley does something silly at the end of the game, costs him the game, and the Chiefs end up winning a tight one.
I think most people agree with you. I just feel like this Kansas City defense is like better than we've seen in years, and I feel like that's going to be a difference in this game. I have the Chiefs covering.
All right, there we go. And let's get to game of the week. Should be a great one. Sunday Night Football, Eagles and Dolphins. Eagles are the home team and favored by 2.5. Who do you like in this spot?
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one. At first, I liked the Eagles. I just feel like it was a good bounce back spot for them. Are they really going to lose 2 games in a row? Jalen Hurts has his worst game against your Jets. It's a good bounce back spot, but I don't know. I was reading up on other stuff and other columnists and analysis, and I heard not Ron Jaworski, Sal Paolantonio say how the Eagles have tons of second ESPN Sal Paolantonio tons of secondary issues, injuries. I just feel like I don't know if they have the defensive pieces to stop this Miami offense. The last time the Dolphins went on the road after big wins, they lost at Buffalo 48-20. We both took Miami there. But you can't make too much out of previous games. I just like this matchup for the Dolphins in the sense that the Eagles' pass rush is their calling card, right? But Tua Tagovailoa, he gets rid of the ball so fast, and Mike McDaniel to me is the best offensive mind in the game right now, and I think he's just gonna have tricks up his sleeve Sunday night. I just don't see the Eagles stopping Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert. Devin Chan A-Chan is hurt. That could come back to hurt them, but they just have so many weapons. And the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he just looks off. Last year he had 6 interceptions all year. This year he already has 7. 3 last week against the Jets. And Lane Johnson, the star right tackle, might not play. I just feel like the idea that, the Eagles have to bounce back if they're home because the NFC champion last year, like, we put too much stock into these, like, have to. It's the NFL. Like, the Browns and the Jets both beat 5-0 teams last week. Why do we always, like, make it sound like these things have to happen? I fall into that trap all the time. my record would be so much better if I didn't think that way. So I'm taking Miami here. I just think that there's too explosive on offense. And it's the Ace Ventura Bowl for all you 90s kids out there. This is actually my Super Bowl pick last year, Eagles Dolphins. And I had totally forgot about that. I saw the movie when I was a teenager. And a few people said, "Oh, were you watching Ace Ventura recently?" So I think that's a funny angle and be interesting to see if NBC does anything funny with it during the broadcast. So Dolphins plus 2.5. I have them winning outright 31-27.
Okay. See, I'm going to be the sucker. I'm going to fall into the trap and say the Eagles bounce back. So I am taking the Eagles minus 2.5. You bring up a lot of good points, though, with this Dolphins team. That's a great offense. They put up a ton of points. They are extremely, extremely fast, and a beat-up Eagles secondary does concern me a little bit. But I just think this team, the Eagles are a veteran group. They, went to the Super Bowl last year. They lost. I think they're going to get back on track here after kind of getting, in a way, embarrassed on offense. The Jets' pass rush really got home last week, and this offensive line is normally, the calling card. I think they're going to get back to running the football this week, which is something they got away from against the Jets, and I think they're going to be able to run on Miami a little bit. Their rushing defense is 20th in yards allowed and 23rd in touchdowns allowed. So I think the Eagles kind of go the time of possession route and are just going to try to keep away from that Miami Dolphins explosive offense. And, they'll get theirs. They're not going to, keep it to a crazy low scoring game. But I do think that they cover this number. I'll say 27-23, the Eagles win and get back on track at home.
23 points for Miami's offense?
Yeah.
Is that a first half score?
Is that a first half score? That's good. Awesome. I love it. So let's run through these real quick. We'll go through and take a look at our Week 7 picks. The Giants and Commanders, the only local in action. We are both on the Commanders -3. Best bets, we got 2 this week. My first best bet, I'm taking the Packers -1.5 against Denver. Joe is going Bucks -2.5 against Atlanta. Bills -8.5 is my second best bet, with the Rams -3 for Joe. Underdog, I'm taking the Chargers +5.5 in Kansas City. Joe is taking the Lions +3 in Baltimore. And our game of the week, Eagles-Dolphins, the Ace Ventura Bowl. I'm going Eagles -2.5, and Joe is going to go with those Miami Dolphins +2.5. Joe, appreciate you as always. Good luck this week.
All right, Matt. Thanks. Good job.